Hello chess fans, this is Rick from Chess to Impress with a video on the greatest series of moves ever played. It's also number 7 in this series, the Queen Rules. I'm going to show you a game which was played a long time ago in 1883. White was the German-Polish chess master Johannes Zukertort. He would play for the world title, the first official world title match against Wilhelm Steinitz 3 years later. Black was Joseph Henry Blackburn, nicknamed the Black Death. He was from Great Britain. Let's see what happened in this game. It's quite extraordinary. Zukertort was white and opened with c4. e6, we have an English opening which will transform into a Queen's Gambit declined. Let's put the opening moves on the board. d5, d4, so now the English opening has transformed into this Queen's Gambit declined. The bishop went to d6, knight developed, black castled, b3 to develop the Queen's bishop to b2, there goes that bishop, and here a6 was played by a number of modern day grandmasters. This variation is still being played, but in 1883 Blackburn played Queen e7 instead, also a fine move. Knight b5, Zukertort goes for the bishop pair. He wants that bishop. Knight e4 from Blackburn. White takes, and you can take with the knight, you can take with the queen, but Blackburn took with the pawn, putting an extra pawn in the center and half opening the c-file. All three different captures are good, there's something to say for each of them. Knight d2, challenging the knight on e4. Knight df6, giving that knight protection by another piece. And f3, Zukertort wants to get rid of that strong knight. Knight takes, queen takes, and Blackburn decided to take on c4. And you can take with the pawn, that is fine, the position is about equal. Bishop takes was played by Zukertort, which is also okay. And d5, putting that pawn in the center, the second d pawn that Black had. Bishop back to d3, and we have a symmetrical pawn structure. White is a bishop pair, but that doesn't mean much yet in this closed position. One open file on the board, which Black is going to occupy, and White, very instructively, is not going to counter Black on the c-file. He's looking for chances on the diagonals to make use of the bishops, as we'll see. Let's see how play progressed. There goes that rook on the open c-file. And rook ae1. White is not opposing on the c-file. Rook c7. Black wants to double the rooks. e4, pushing in the center, trying to make space for the bishops. Rook ac8, doubling on the c-file. And as I was preparing for this game, I found a comment from an internet poster who said, "The doubled rooks on the c-file always makes me smile." Zukertort says, "Irrelevant, you just watch me use the diagonals." And that's what we'll see. This is quite a game. Zukertort pushed e5, kicked the knight, knight went back to e8, and f4, expanding on the king side. White is going to attack the black king on g8. g6, a difficult decision, but a good one. It's always hard to judge whether you should make a pawn move in front of your king when your opponent is attacking you, but in this case, Blackburn has assessed properly that this move needs to be made to stop the onslaught of the white expansion on the king side. Rook e3, a rook lift, that rook wants to swing over to have a go at Black's king. And f5, again Blackburn has correctly assessed this move, which is often not a good idea, because either taking en passant will give White an advantage, or otherwise the f5 pawn will become a hook for future expansion with White's g-pawn. Zukertort decided to take en passant, and here queen takes f6 is the best move according to Zukertort in the tournament book. He gave the line queen e1, knight g7, and then g4. And his conclusion was that Black would also then have a difficult game. But in the game, Blackburn made a mistake. He took back with the knight. It seems to make sense, bringing that knight back into the game. But now there is f5, a great move that blasts open the position and the diagonals for the bishops. Black's e-pawn is pinned. You cannot take with the e-pawn because then you lose your queen. Taking with the g-pawn is not great either, because then there is bishop takes f5. This is a disaster for black. White is taking on e6 on the next move with rook or bishop. So what to do after f5? Knight e4 was played by Blackburn, attacking white's queen. Zukertor decided to take the knight off the board. D takes e4 and f takes g6. White has a winning attack. If you take back, then there is d5 opening the diagonal for the bishop. And let me show you one sample variation. If you play rook c2 to finally use that c file, it looks good for black. Are you going to win the bishop now? No, you're not, because rook h3 is the winning move. You cannot take the queen because of checkmate on h8. That's a nice checkmate. But after f takes g6, black did not take back on g6. He played rook c2. Yes, he's not without play himself. The control over the c file counts for something. Is he now winning that bishop on b2? In this variation, no, he's going to be blown off the board. G takes h7 check. And the king goes to h8, trying to use the white h-pawn as a shield to hide behind. But now d5 check. Taking the bishop doesn't work, because queen takes b2 check, and if you play e5 then rook takes e4, and white has an attack and also a material advantage. So what Blackburn had planned is e5, and it looks like black has survived. How does white continue now? Well, here the magic starts. Zukertort now drops a bomb on the board. Are you ready for it? The queen rules, queen d2 to b4. What a move. What an incredible move. Just hanging the queen on b4 on top of the bishop hanging on b2. What happens if we take it? This is all about deflecting the black queen, and it's not the last time in the game that we'll see that. After queen takes b4 there is bishop takes e5 check. This leads to a forced checkmate. Let's look at the variation. King takes pawn, then the rook comes to h3. King plays rook g3 check. King back to the h-file. The second rook comes into play. King h7, rook f7 check. King h6, bishop f4 check is the quickest way to mate. King h5, and this is checkmate. Very nice. So you cannot take the queen on b4. The black queen is hanging on e7, so let's try and protect that queen. Let's see what happens then. Well, then there is another beautiful shot. Rook f8 check is winning here. Incredible. You cannot take with the rook, because then your queen on e7 is unprotected again. If you take with the queen, then there is bishop takes e5 check. Yes, the e5 pawn is protected, but it doesn't work. You cannot take the bishop with the rook, because then your queen is unprotected on f8. Which will lead to a quick mate. Rook takes e5, queen takes f8 check. King takes, rook gives check, king g6, another check by the rook. King g5 and checkmate in just a few moves. This is checkmate. Very nice checkmate. There's lots of checkmates in this video. If you want to practice your checkmating skills, you can put the video on pause and look for the sequence. They're not very difficult. So all this after queen b4 and then rook e8. And we played rook f8 check. Wonderful move. The queen takes. Bishop takes on e5. We just saw that taking that bishop does not work. What about if you take the pawn? Well, then you also will get checkmated. Queen takes e4 check. Nice move. Bringing the queen back into the attack. King h6. Queen h4 check. King g6. And the rook. King f5. And this is also checkmate. So where were we? Let's go back. We played this wonderful move, queen b4. And we saw that taking the queen doesn't work. And we saw that protecting the black queen with rook e8 doesn't work. Blackburn saw all that and played rook 8 to c5. Interposing the rook. Solving the problem that way. But then another shot. After the bomb that Zukertor dropped on b4, he now launches a rocket into black's position. And again, it's an attempt to deflect the black queen. Rook f8. We saw that move already in one of the variations. Here it does work as well. Because if we take that rook with the queen, then the e5 pawn is again unprotected and bishop takes e5 check wins. Let's look again how this goes all the way to checkmate. King takes, queen takes e4 check. We saw that move as well in the variation before. And let's make the moves. King has to go up the board. And queen g4 check with mate on the next move. Beautiful. So, after rook f8 check, you cannot take that rook. Blackburn saw that, and he took with the king on h7. But then, queen takes e4 check, there's that move again. King went to g7, and now the quickest way to mate is a move that Zukertor did not find, is rook g8 check. Another wonderful move. If you take it, then there is queen g6 check. Queen interposes, another check. Queen interposes again. There comes the rook. King h7. And bishop takes e5 check. You have to interpose the queen, and this is checkmate. That would have been a very nice end to this very nice game. In the game, rook f8 check was not played, but bishop takes e5 check was played by Zukertor, also extremely strong. Black took the rook, and now a third and final shot that deflects the poor black queen. Bishop g7 check, what a move. If you take that with the queen, then this is checkmate. The black queen has been deflected again. If you take it with the king, then you lose your queen. With mate in a few moves, and if you play the move from the game, king g8, then queen takes e7, and here, poor Joseph Henry Blackburn resigned the game. Let me give you one example. If you want to save your bishop on b7, then you can play rook c7, for example, attacking the white queen. But then you also get checkmated with queen f8 check, king h7, rook h3 check, king g6, and this is checkmate. So after queen takes e7, Blackburn resigned. And again, a few quotes from excited patrons on the internet. One poster said, "This is the decoy immortal." Another one said, "One of the greatest series of moves ever." And one final comment, "Life is worth living after watching a chess game like this." And that's exactly how I feel at the moment, and I hope you do too. Most of Zukertor's games that I've seen so far were losses against Wilhelm Steinitz in the World Championship matches that he played against him. I did not really appreciate Zukertor enough as a wonderful player, but this game has opened my eyes to what a genius he was. Johannes Zukertor, surely one of the legends of the game of chess. And you and I are not legends of the game yet, but maybe after this game, the game Rick Against the Chess to Impress viewers, we will be. Maybe it will be an immortal game, like the one between Zukertor and Blackburn. Let's look at the position. Where are we? You played rook e8 on your last move, and I decided to connect my rooks with the move queen c2, and now it is your move again. The way to take part is putting your move in the comment section underneath this video. Then you will be taking part in this game. You also will be in the raffle for a chess book. I will raffle a chess book amongst the viewers who've taken part in this game. It is a very rich and complex position. I'm really looking forward to seeing your suggestions for your 12th move. Hope you will take part in our game. And I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Please subscribe to the Chess to Impress channel, and please leave a comment. I will read them all and I will reply to them all. If you liked the video, it would be great if you could share it on social media by clicking the share button on YouTube. You can find me on Instagram, on Twitter, and on Facebook. You can find a playlist of the This Piece Rules series in the description box underneath this video. This is Rick for Chess to Impress. Thank you for watching.